Savannah Chrisley reveals shocking name federal prosecutors called her parents. Hello, everyone. Welcome back for another video. I hope everyone's having a great day. Before watching the video, please subscribe and like it. Former Chrisley Knows Best star Savannah Chrisley has revealed the shocking name federal prosecutors called her parents. They were sentenced to a combined 19 years behind bars, but were released in May 2025. So, what were Todd and Julie Chrisley referred to as? Keep reading for more details. Savannah Chrisley reveals name federal prosecutors called parents. This has been a long 2.5 years dealing with Todd and Julie Chrisley heading off to jail. It started long before that with their trial, and the family hid a lot of their sadness and fear. They kept going with Chrisley Knows Best, which showed a lighthearted side and invited a lot of laughter. Sadly, when they were sentenced, Savannah Chrisley took over for her parents. She became the guardian of her younger siblings, Grayson and Chloe, while fighting for Todd and Julie's freedom. In May 2025, they were pardoned by President Trump, but they maintained that their trial was never fair. Now Savannah, who has amassed a new fan base through her podcast, Unlocked, is opening up about what federal prosecutors called her parents. They had a shocking name, and it was the Trumps of the South. Although they may have felt this was an offensive name, Savannah and her family embrace President Trump and what he stands for. Therefore, they turned it into a positive, as it did not hit as the prosecution had hoped. Yes, there were similarities between the Trumps and Chrisleys. Both are no strangers to reality television, as President Trump helmed The Apprentice. Todd and Julie Chrisley showcased their lives on Chrisley Knows Best. Then Chase and Savannah Chrisley headed over to Growing Up Chrisley for a new spin on the reality series. Both families have been on trial and feel they have been treated unfairly, so yes, the moniker makes sense. At the end of the day, both families are attempting to do what they love and keep on going. A new series ahead. Savannah Chrisley will join her family in their new reality series, Back to Reality, which will air on Lifetime. It will start before Todd and Julie Chrisley are released from prison and the harsh reality of what they went through. Furthermore, it will showcase the struggles their kids faced without their parents and how hard they fought. Finally, it will explore their release and the couple reuniting after 2.5 years away from each other. Fans of the family are more than thrilled for this to premiere. Crying happy tears. Truly. So glad mom and dad are home. I'm not gonna lie. All the way here up in Washington State, I was pulling for mom and dad. I can't wait for everyone again, especially Nanny Faye. This should be an adventure, and a lot of praise will go to the current administration for helping free Todd and Julie. Savannah Chrisley has always been known for her strength, resilience, and willingness to speak out even when the world tries to silence her, but in a moment that has left fans gasping and critics stunned, she has now revealed a shocking detail about the federal prosecutors who helped convict her parents Todd and Julie Chrisley. The reality television star and vocal advocate for her parents' innocence opened up during a candid moment on her podcast, Unlocked, where she didn't hold back expressing what she's endured since her family's legal saga began. As she fights for her parents' early release, Savannah lets slip a detail that few expected to hear. Prosecutors in the federal case once allegedly referred to Todd and Julie Chrisley using a cruel nickname meant to belittle, humiliate, and dehumanize them. She described this revelation as a moment that changed everything for her, turning what was once grief into fury and fueling her quest for justice and truth. She claimed that the term used by those responsible for prosecuting her parents was not just inappropriate but downright demeaning. It showed, according to her, the lack of humanity within the system and a prejudice she believes was present from the beginning of the trial. The statement sent shockwaves across social media, with thousands of fans voicing outrage. Savannah, who has consistently maintained her parents' innocence, revealed that during private discussions and court proceedings, prosecutors allegedly used the term reality trashed to describe her parents, a label she said revealed the true feelings of those behind the case against them, rather than viewing them as human beings with a family legacy and a complex story. Savannah insists they were mocked as media caricatures, something that played heavily into public perception and likely the trial outcome. She said hearing that phrase made her feel like her entire world had been devalued, reduced to a punchline in someone else's political narrative. She admitted it was a slap in the face, a moment where she realized her parents were never going to be treated fairly. Savannah explained that in her eyes the case was never about justice. It was about making an example of them, humiliating them, and cashing in on the public interest in the downfall of a famous Southern family. What stung the most for Savannah wasn't just the phrase itself, but what it symbolized: the clear disregard for her parents' humanity and for the emotional toll this ordeal has taken on everyone involved. She stated that Todd and Julie have suffered tremendously behind bars, enduring long hours of labor, harsh conditions, and loneliness, while their name continues to be dragged through the mud outside prison walls. She has also taken issue with what she describes as a biased and broken system, one that she says has consistently silenced victims like herself and perpetuated injustice. She feels that the system failed her family long before the trial even began, and the nickname allegedly used by the prosecution only affirms that failure in her eyes. Savannah went on to describe how the weight of carrying this family trauma has shifted her entire life. She has become the legal guardian of her younger brother Grayson and niece Chloe, while managing a budding media career and fighting for prison reform. She sees her parents not as criminals, but as victims of a system that chose to target them for their fame and visibility. And now, with this shocking nickname revealed, the gloves have come off. She pointed out that the public rarely hears what happens behind courtroom doors or in government meetings, and that terms like reality trash have likely been whispered about other defendants as well, particularly those who are famous and easy targets for harsh prosecution. She believes that fame has become a curse in the courtroom, where instead of fairness, defendants are often tried in the court of public opinion long before they ever see a judge. Savannah's revelation is now leading to fresh outrage, with supporters calling for an investigation into misconduct during the trial and others demanding accountability for the treatment of the Chrisleys. While Savannah has not yet named the exact prosecutor involved, she made it clear that this was not a one-time comment, but a sentiment that echoed throughout their legal process. The federal prosecutors have not responded to the allegations, but legal experts are already weighing in, some noting that if true, such behavior could be grounds for review, especially if there is any suggestion that bias influenced sentencing or the treatment of evidence. Savannah is not waiting for anyone to take action. Instead, she's launching her own initiative to bring these issues to light. She shared plans for a new mini-documentary series where she intends to expose the harsh truths about the federal prison system her family's experience, and now what she calls the inner rot of a system that supposedly champions justice, but has left her family devastated. She says it's not just about the Chrisleys anymore. It's about every family that's been broken by abuse of power. Despite facing massive scrutiny, Savannah has remained a pillar of strength, using her platform to call out corruption and speak up when others stay silent. She says she will continue to fight with every ounce of energy she has, because this story isn't over, and she's determined to rewrite its ending. For Savannah, the fight is personal, emotional, and spiritual. She said that hearing her parents talked about in that way tore a hole in her heart, but it also lit a fire that can't be put out. She's more determined than ever to make sure no other family goes through what hers has endured, and while she doesn't expect an apology, she demands accountability. As public support grows, Savannah says the truth has power, and she's no longer afraid to wield it. She's calling on lawmakers to reevaluate the conduct of federal prosecutors and to set stricter standards for professionalism, humanity, and ethical behavior in the courtroom. She believes it's time for real change, not just in how high-profile defendants are treated, but in how the justice system views the very people it claims to serve. The Chrisleys have always been known for their larger-than-life personalities, their fierce devotion to family, and their refusal to back down. And now, with Savannah at the helm of this latest chapter, their story is taking a bold new turn, one that's not just about scandal, but about standing up to the institutions that try to destroy them. Savannah says she is ready for the backlash, ready for the headlines, and ready for the fight, Because the truth doesn't scare her, what scares her is a world where cruelty is accepted and justice is performative. She's seen behind the curtain now, and she's determined to tear it down for good. This moment marks a new era in the Chrisley family's long public journey, from courtroom to prison cell to national conversation. Their story is no longer about fame. It's about justice, compassion, and change. And Savannah Chrisley is making sure that every voice silenced by shame or scandal is finally heard. In her final words on the podcast, she said she knows people will try to spin her words, try to say she's playing the victim or seeking attention, but she doesn't care anymore, because at the end of the day, she knows the truth, and she believes the world deserves to hear it too. Her parents, she says, are not reality trash. They're human beings. They're her heroes, and she's not going to stop until the world sees them that way again. With tears in her eyes and steel in her voice, Savannah vowed to keep telling the truth, no matter how uncomfortable it makes others, because that's how change begins and that's how justice is served. What do you think of the nickname prosecutors gave to Todd and Julie? Moreover, do you think Savannah Chrisley cares as long as her parents are free? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching this video. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, America Trends 24, and stay with us.